Why these car mistakes cost you big bucks. Alright, let's talk turkey. You've got yourself a nice automatic car. It's supposed to be easy, right? You just put it in D for drive and go. But hold on a minute. A lot of folks are making some real boneheaded mistakes with their automatic transmissions, and they don't even know it. These little habits you do every single day are slowly but surely killing your car. We're talking about expensive repairs, the kind that make your wallet cry. You work hard for your money, so why throw it away on a transmission rebuild that could have been easily avoided? A car is one of the biggest investments you'll ever make, right after a house. So why do people treat their cars that way? They drive them into the ground, ignoring the signs. Think of your car's transmission as its heart. It's a complex piece of machinery with moving parts, fluids, electronics, all working together. When you do something it doesn't like, you're putting stress on that system. It's like smoking cigarettes. One won't kill you, but a pack a day for 20 years will definitely cause some serious problems. So let's quit the bad habits and start treating that transmission with a little respect. It'll thank you with years of reliable service. We're going to count down the biggest, most shocking mistakes people make with their automatic cars. Pay close attention because I guarantee you're probably making at least one of these. Let's get started and keep your car on the road, not in the shop. Let's kick things off with a real simple one. But you'd be shocked how many people mess this up. That little check engine light, the oil light, the temperature gauge. They aren't just there for decoration, folks. They're your car's way of screaming for help. When one of those lights pops on, it means the car's computer has detected a problem. Ignoring it is like your doctor telling you that you have a serious illness and you just say, I'll deal with it later. A lot of times it's just fear. They see the light. They panic about a big repair bill, so they pretend it's not there. A check engine light could be something simple, like a loose gas cap, which is an easy fix. But it could also be a sign that your catalytic converter is failing, or your transmission is overheating. You can drive to your local auto parts store. Most of them will scan the code for free. Once you have that code, you have information, and information is power. Alright, let's talk about fluids. Your car is full of them. Engine oil, transmission fluid, brake fluid, coolant, power steering fluid, and here's the deal. They are not interchangeable. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people pour the wrong stuff into the wrong hole. Let's take automatic transmission fluid, or ATF, for example. There are dozens of different types. Dexron, Mercon, ATF plus 4, CVT fluid. Your car's manufacturer specifies the exact type of fluid your transmission needs. This fluid does more than just lubricate. It acts as hydraulic fluid and cools the transmission. If you use the wrong kind, clutches can slip, seals can get damaged, the whole thing can overheat and burn up. So how do you avoid this nightmare scenario? It's really simple. Read the owner's manual. Write it down. Put it in your phone. Do whatever you have to do to remember it. When you're at the auto parts store, don't just grab the bottle that's on sale. If you're not sure, ask someone who works there. Better yet, call your mechanic. Don't just assume the quick lube place is using the right stuff. Ask them. This next one is a classic bad habit. A lot of people, when they're driving their automatic car, they like to rest their hand on the gear selector. It feels comfortable. It feels natural. Maybe it makes them feel like they're a race car driver. But what they don't realize is that they're slowly but surely wearing out their transmission. Inside that console, the gear lever is connected to the transmission's manual valve and a bunch of other sensitive components. When you put the weight of your arm on that shifter, you're putting pressure on parts inside the transmission. Over time, this constant, unnecessary pressure can cause these parts to wear down prematurely. It can cause the bushings to get sloppy. It can even lead to the transmission not fully engaging in gear. The best place for your hands is on the steering wheel in the proper 10 and 2 or 9 and 3 position. Here's a myth that just won't die. Some old school drivers think they can save a little bit of gas by shifting their automatic car into neutral and coasting down a long hill. The logic seems to make sense on the surface. If the engine isn't connected to the wheels, it must be using less fuel, right? Wrong. Modern cars with fuel injection are smart. Going downhill in drive with your foot off the gas, the car's computer knows what's happening. It sees the wheels are turning the engine, so it cuts fuel to the injectors almost to zero. Shift into neutral and the engine has to idle. Using fuel, you're wasting gas by coasting in neutral. In drive, the engine is connected to the wheels. That gives you engine braking. Shift into neutral and you lose engine braking on long, steep hills that can overheat brakes. It's also bad for the transmission. Coasting in neutral reduces transmission fluid circulation and increases heat. Shifting back into drive at high speed forces clutch packs to suddenly engage. That causes a massive jolt and heavy wear. The right way, leave it in drive. On very steep hills, shift to a lower gear like L, 2, or 3 to get more engine braking and save your brakes. Never, ever coast in neutral. This one makes me cringe every time I see it. You're in a parking lot, trying to back into a space. You're rolling forward a little bit, and before the car comes to a complete stop, you slam the shifter from drive into reverse. You hear a loud clunk or a jolt, and the car shudders. That sound, my friends, is the sound of you abusing your transmission. Let's think about what's happening inside the transmission when you do this. Your transmission is designed to change the direction of the force from the engine. When you suddenly shift to reverse while the car is still moving forward, you're asking the transmission to stop the car's forward momentum and immediately reverse it. You are essentially using your transmission's delicate internal parts as a brake. Each time you make that abrupt shift, you're chipping away at the life of your transmission. It can lead to stretched or broken transmission bands, burned out clutches, and eventually a total transmission failure. Then you're looking at a repair bill that can easily run into the thousands of dollars, all because you couldn't be bothered to take 1 extra second to stop the car. The solution is so simple it's almost silly to have to say it, but here it is. Always come to a complete stop before shifting between drive and reverse. Your foot should be firmly on the brake pedal, and the car should be completely stationary. Then, and only then, should you move the gear selector. This allows the transmission to disengage from one direction and engage in the other without any violent stress. We've all seen them. The light turns green. The driver next to you stomps on the gas like they're starting a drag race. Tires squeal. Engine screams. The car lurches forward. What they're really doing is putting insane shock and stress on the drivetrain. Jackrabbit starts abuse engine, transmission, axles, tires, floor the gas from a standstill, and you send a massive shockwave through the vehicle. Engine revs spike. Transmission suddenly has to handle huge torque. Internal clutches slam. That generates heat. That creates friction. The enemies of automatic transmissions. The abuse doesn't stop at the transmission. Shock travels to the drive shaft, CV joints, axles. So what's the smart way to accelerate? Smooth and steady wins the race for car longevity. When the light turns green, apply gentle, progressive pressure to the gas. Let the car roll smoothly before you ask for more power. A smooth driver is a smart driver. Save money on fuel, extend tire life, and keep your transmission from turning into a pile of fried metal. This one is, honestly, the silent killer of cars. It's not really a bad driving habit, but more like a bad ownership habit. Neglecting regular maintenance. People get busy, they want to save a little money, so they start pushing back that oil change or just skipping that transmission fluid service. Well, the harm is that you are actually allowing small preventable issues to snowball into massive expensive catastrophes. The fluid in your automatic transmission breaks down over time. It gets contaminated with tiny metal shavings and clutch material. If you never change it, it turns into thick, abrasive sludge. That sludge clogs tiny passages in the valve body, starves components of lubrication, and can cause the transmission to overheat and fail. A simple fluid and filter change can prevent all of this. Your owner's manual is your best friend. It lays out the maintenance schedule from the engineers who designed your car. Think of maintenance as an investment, not just an expense. Spending $100, $200 on a transmission service every 30,000 or 60,000 miles is a bargain compared to spending $4 $5K to replace the transmission. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish. A well-maintained car will last longer, be safer, get better gas mileage, and have a higher resale value. Here's a mistake that almost everyone with an automatic car makes. You pull into a parking spot on a hill, shift into park, turn off the engine, and get out. What's wrong with that picture? You forgot to use the parking brake. By not using it, especially on an incline, you are putting all of the car's weight on a tiny little metal pin inside your transmission called the parking pawl. It's a small, pin-like component that's designed to lock into a toothed wheel on the transmission's output shaft. It's not designed to hold the full weight of a 3,000 or 4,000 pound vehicle on a steep hill. When you rely only on the plow, you're putting an immense amount of stress on it and the linkage connected to it. Ever park on a hill, and when you go to shift out of park, you have to yank the lever really hard, and it makes a loud, violent clunk. The correct procedure is simple. When you park on any kind of incline, follow these steps in this exact order. First, shift to neutral. Second, apply the parking brake. Third, release your foot from the main brake. You'll feel the car settle onto the parking brake. Now the parking brake is holding the car's weight, not the transmission. Finally, press the brake pedal again and shift the car into park. This simple habit takes all the stress off the parking pole. Now we're getting to the really serious stuff. This mistake isn't just about saving money on repairs, it's about saving your life. I'm talking about neglecting your tires. Your tires are the only 4 points of contact between your multi-thousand-pound metal machine and the road. Everything, steering, braking, accelerating, depends on the condition of those 4 little patches of rubber. Yet people drive around on tires that are dangerously underinflated, worn bald, or out of alignment. Driving on underinflated tires is incredibly risky. It causes the tire's sidewalls to flex excessively, which generates a massive amount of heat. This can lead to a catastrophic blowout, especially at highway speeds, which can cause you to lose control of the car in an instant. The grooves in your tires are there to channel water away from the contact patch to prevent hydroplaning in the rain. When your tires are worn down and the tread is gone, they can't move that water. You end up riding on a thin film of water with almost no grip at all. A simple way to check your tread is with a penny. Stick it into the groove with Lincoln's head upside down. If you can see the top of his head, your tires are dangerously worn and need to be replaced immediately. Buy a good quality tire pressure gauge and check your tire pressure at least once a month when the tires are cold. The correct pressure isn't on the tire itself. It's on a sticker inside the driver's side door jamb. Keep them inflated properly. And here it is, the #1 biggest, most common mistake, not just with automatic cars, but with all cars. It's starting your car up on a cold morning and immediately driving off like you're in a hurry. You're doing incredible damage to the engine and the transmission. Cold metal and cold fluids are a recipe for accelerated wear and tear. The engine oil has been sitting in the oil pan all night. When it's cold, it's thick, like molasses. When you start the engine, the oil pump has to work hard to push that thick, cold oil through all the tiny passages. It takes a few seconds for the oil to get everywhere it needs to go. If you immediately put the car in gear and drive off, you're putting a huge load on parts that are not yet properly lubricated. The same goes for your transmission. The automatic transmission fluid is also cold and thick. The best method is to start the car, let it idle for about 30 seconds to a minute, then drive off gently. For the first 5 to 10 minutes of your drive, avoid hard acceleration and high speeds. Keep the RPMs low. This allows the engine and transmission to warm up gradually and evenly under a light load. This simple patience will add years to the life of your vehicle. Rev up your engines, but do it smartly.